All right, in this video, we have got Jimmy Hillsman here on the Speechless, owner and operator of Ocean's East Tackle here in Nags Head. Is it Manteo or Nags Head? I know I've asked you this.
Nags Head.
Nags Head, okay.
Yeah.
I know, like the marina, you can almost throw a softball to the tackle shop, really, but this is Manteo and that's Nags Head. But anyway, we're happy to have you here on the boat, Jimmy. And in this video, we're going to talk about must-have terminal tackle for offshore fishing. I'm just lucky to have a man like this sitting beside me to talk about this stuff. He's a wealth of knowledge. You can find him right at Ocean's East here in Nags Head. They're very helpful in that store. That's one thing I've always loved about that place. You go in there, you ask questions, you get answers, no BS. And they're not trying to sell you stuff you don't need. It's what you need, how you need it. So we thank you for being a part of the local community and being a great place for people to go to help. So all right, we're gonna get down to the brass tacks of terminal tackle. Very important. That's
lots of options.
Lots of options, and there's the difference between coming home empty-handed or coming home with a fish of a lifetime. It really is.
Definitely.
I guess what we're gonna start with is the swivel. And this, for some of you that might not know or beginners, is from where your main line comes off of your rod and attaches to your leader. And what are our different options for that?
Well, I'll tell you, things have changed over the years. You know, when I first started fishing, I get out of Oregon Inlet, probably about, I don't know, 25, almost 30 years ago now, you know, we started with snap swivels.
Right.
So your main line to a snap swivel to your leader to your hook. And then about 20 some odd years ago, you know, the crank-on swivel, Spro crank-on swivel came out. And then now, a couple different options on crank-on swivels on what to use. And
that's a pretty much standard across the board thing. You know, if you're ballyhoo fishing, or you know, even some lures is you know, a wind-on swivel. And a lot of people don't know that you have to have a certain rod too to be able to accommodate, rod tip I should say, to be able to accommodate that wind-on swivel. It needs to be a roller tip, and you know, it just makes it go in and out of the rod tip very smooth. And there's different variations of rod roller tips and stuff like that. We've been over some of that other stuff in different videos, but that's very important. A lot of people will put a wind-on swivel, you know, and just a regular tip with an eye on it, or ring tip I guess you would call it, and wonder why they have tackle failures. Now that wind-on swivel, there's two different types that you commonly see. You know, one of them is kind of tubular, and I'm not sure the exact terminology for it, but the other one looks just more like an inline swivel with two loops on the end and a barrel in the middle. Now, what I found is the inline swivel that looks like a piece of tubing, sometimes those edges on those things are pretty sharp. You know what I mean? So
I agree with you. You know, what I like to do when I fish that, you know, crank-on swivel Spro makes, it's 130-pound power swivel. This is the one I use, you know, yellowfin fishing. And I do a clove hitch on each side of there, or if a customer wants to put a little chafe tube in there, because it is sharp. That's going to be your weak point in your line, because it's so thin on both sides of that swivel, it's going to cut into that line. But one of two things, a clove hitch or a chafe tube will fix that. But that is a problem with that specific style. Yes.
When would you use a snap-on swivel directly on your main line?
If I'm blue marlin fishing or something, you know, put a snap swivel, you know, to, you know, my leader. But you don't have to. You can do the crank on the same way. It's personal preference there. Snap swivel going to a spreader bar, like say a big bar or something, or even chains. I'll do them to my chain, to the loop in the top of my chain. As far as like if you're yellowfin fishing with a 30-foot leader, you know, something like that, real light leader where you don't want anything laying in the water that fish might see and not, you know, hit your bait, especially that hot, pretty water that we have in summertime here that you guys have.
That's right.
I don't like the snap swivel for that, but there's a time and place for the snap swivel.
There is, and a lot of times people don't realize is when you lose that fish of a lifetime is when you're leadering the fish. You know what I mean? When that snap swivel has gotten to the rod tip and it's just hand over hand trying to get it in, you know, and you can't keep pressure on it, you know, especially for an inexperienced mate. You know what I mean? That fish is acting all crazy, especially if it's in the green water. And they're nuts when they get up beside the boat.
And that's where those wind-on or crank-on swivels are great. especially for somebody that doesn't do it every day.
Right.
That's not used to wiring up a fish.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of the dangerous stuff out of it. When you
Keeps
don't
the
have to take a
rod
wrap.
bent, you know, keeps that pressure on while they're cranking it ready. I mean, really to the side of the boat.
Yes.
You know, a mate really, if there's no sharks around, a mate really does not have to touch the leader until they get 6 feet off the side of the boat. Yeah, they just, most of the time they'll just grab the leader, little light pressure, and reach right across his back and gaff him. So, all right, so that brings us to the leader. There's several different options for that too. There's several different opinions about it. We use all fluoro leaders here on this rig. I see where it helps a lot. My main thing is the abrasion resistance. You know what I mean? When that fish is acting crazy, or, you know, right there at the crimp where the teeth are, you know, getting chafing on the fluoro and stuff like that. It's a lot harder, you know, material.
Oh, it is.
And a lot of people say that it's invisible to the fish. You know, I believe that in certain waters, you know, certain colors of waters, but that's not always the case. You can be fishing the nastiest, greenest stuff you've ever seen in your life, and there's no way they can see that line.
Yeah, you know, when people come to the shop and ask me, should I use fluorocarbon or should I just use mono? I say, look, hot summertime water, pretty. We have a lot of boats fishing. Fish are getting pounded. Yes,
right.
Fluorocarbon every single day. I would never use mono.
Yeah.
Green spring, green water, not as many boats fishing. I don't think it makes a big difference, if any difference at all. When that's at nasty green water, I don't think it makes a difference. I tell people, look, that time of year, save your money.
Yeah.
Or just put them, if you want to put fluorocarbons, put on your long baits where your stuff's dragging along, you know, across the water. Your close in stuff, I mean, just use mono.
For a lot of people that might not understand that whole on your long baits and your close baits, well, the further your baits are behind the boat, the more of a belly you have in the line, and the more of the line is actually in the water, traveling in the water.
Yep.
Therefore, it gives more opportunity for the fish to see it. The shorter baits, a lot of them is just maybe 5 or 10 feet of the line and then the bait in the water, you know, because of the angle. And plus there tends to be a lot more whitewater is what we call it, closer to the boat. So there's more disturbance around it. They might not be able to pick up that line through all the bubbles that the boat's creating. So just a quick education on that. But yeah, I agree with you 100%. All right, so now we've talked about the leader. What comes next? The crimp to the hook. That's pretty daggone important. This is where those big monster fish, that's where they show the holes in your tackle, where they find a way to get through.
That's where it's going to break most of the time, yeah. Unfortunately, if it's going to break.
Yeah. Tell us about the difference in crimping fluoro and the difference in crimping mono. A lot of people might not ever know this.
Yeah. Crimping mono, you can very easily over-crimp something, and it's going to break right there. Fluoro, you really want to crimp a little bit more than the mono because, you know, it takes more to secure the fluorocarbon, and you don't really, it doesn't break as much when people over crimp it. It can handle it, but right. Mono's soft and mono can't, and that's where people that are just learning how to crimp, they're like, you know, either they don't crimp it hard enough and the line slips, or they crimp it too much and it breaks in there because it, you know, rubs on the line. It's very difficult when somebody's learning, and especially around here, you know, when you guys, you know, most of what you guys do go tuna fishing, they're testing your leaders, they're testing your tackle.
Yeah.
And
multiple times, over and over and over again. It's not just about catching one fish.
So if it's not perfect,
yeah,
it's gonna find a way to break.
Yeah.
So very, very difficult for people that are just starting off on the whole crimping thing.
Crimp size is very, very important too.
Yeah, and getting the crimp size correct.
Yeah. And one other thing is crimp length.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So we sell a couple different size crimps. Yeah, a company called Catch-All, we started carrying a couple years ago. They're a little bit longer crimps. They're almost like just shy of 2 crimps, the size of 1. And a lot of the guys around here really like those, you know, tuna fishing. It's more surface area that you crimp which gives a more secure, you know, connection.
Now let's just say for your average tuna fishing here in the Outer Banks, your 30 to 50 pound class of tuna that we normally catch, what's your favorite hook size for that?
So it's a little bit tricky.
Yeah,
If I'm using a medium value,
that's what it's all about.
straight medium value, I'll use a Mustad 7691 DT 80. That's my favorite hook for a yellowfin, using a medium value. But a lot of us use medium large values. I know you guys like some medium large values, and then I like a different hook, which is a 7692 DT 10. It's crazy, it jumps, you know, with the style.
Right.
But for medium large, that's 7692 DT 10, and for the regular medium, 7691 DT 80. But we found around here that's the perfect size hook for those sizes, and style hook. Both of those two styles have a southern tuna bend, which is what we like, you know, fishing for tunas.
Right. When do you ever step down to a 7?
So I don't tuna fishing. So if I'm dolphin fishing or something like that, I'll maybe go to a smaller hook, you know, for a dolphin, or if I'm bailing dolphin, I'll go with like a 6.0. I think it's 3407 DT, which is a very thin, long shank hook. Bailing dolphin, easier to de-hook because it has a long shank.
Yeah.
De-hook them in the box. But tuna fishing, I don't use a 7.0 for anything.
When we bluefin, we step it on up a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that bluefin hook, which is that Mustad 7698. It's a 2X hook. I think you guys use that one.
Yeah.
They make a, you know, I think a 8.0, 9.0, 10.0, 11.0, maybe a 12.0, but bluefin, and most of us use the 9.0, 2X, 7698, or the 10.0. I'm not sure which one you guys use.
9.0.
Yeah.
For some people that might not know what 2X means, explain that to them.
When you're bluefin, I mean these guys catch, you know what? Would you catch one just under 1,000 pounds, or right around 1,000 pounds this last year?
The calculation said it was supposed to be 1,000 pounds according to the measurements, but we did not get
when you're catching fish the size of the ones you guys catch in the winter months, those regular hooks that we use yellowfin fishing, I mean, they're going to bend out like this, and you're not going to catch a fish.
Yeah.
So what we do is we go to a 2X strong hook, which is double the strength, and those hooks do really well on those big bluefins.
Yeah. When is there a time when a circle hook is better than a J hook?
When I first started mating, the fishing center, all of us, we used J hooks, you know, marlin fishing. And then I want to say it's 2006, 7, in that time frame, we all started switching over circle hooks for a billfish.
Right.
Because a lot of those white marlin and sailfish that we were catching, you know, I hate to say it,
They were swallowing it.
They were swallowing it, and coming up bleeding, and I think several of them probably did not make it.
Right.
So I think, like I said, 2007, 8-ish, we all said, you know what, let's not do this anymore. So we switched over to circle hooks, and circle hooks, they can be right in the corner of the mouth. Don't injure the fish jump around more when you catch them. They're just...
and that circle hook stays in that corner. I mean, that line can get slack to where if a J hook, a lot of times if that line is slack, it's popping out. But that circle hook, I can't tell you how many times I've been up in that tower and there's a big old belly in the line and the fish is jumping, and I can sit there and I can see the hook in the corner of the mouth. All you need a lot
of times is that line drag, which is that belly, and just holds it in place. But we switched over to circle hooks, and then, and around here, offshore, that's really one of the only times, that and blue marlin, you know, pitch baits and stuff now, you know, we're using that circle hook also, which is great, because I remember a lot of the blue ones we'd catch would come up bleeding also. But that's all really tuna fishing. None of that other stuff we really, you know, I don't know about you guys, but when I did it for a living, you know, we didn't really use circle hooks for anything except for the marlin fishing stuff.
All right, so we started out at the swivel, we went all the way through our leader, we hit the crimp, and then we hit our hooks. Is there anything else very important, terminal tackle?
I guess that's the only thing that we didn't really talk about in length at all, the size of the leader.
Yeah, that's very important. We skipped over that.
Which is important, you know, because at the shop, somebody comes in to buy fluorocarbon to go tuna fishing. Well, good gosh, we have it from 300 pound all the way down to 10 pound fluorocarbon.
Yeah.
So,
and in a lot of people's minds, heavier is what they're after. They're going to catch a big fish, they need heavy leader. That's not always the case.
Which I know, and you guys, I don't know if you guys use 90 pound.
90 is what we've been using.
That's 90 pound. That's what, when I fish for a living, I use 90.
Yeah.
And you feel like on those days that those fish are getting pounded and don't want to bite with that little bit lighter leader than the other boats, you can get some bites other guys aren't.
Yeah.
So I'm a 90 pound guy myself. Mamoy makes a really good 90 pound. Seaguar does too.
Yeah.
So
I'm a fan that Andy comes in 100, and I'm a fan of that.
So I sell the heck out of that. Andy makes like a 120, which is kind of an oddball size, and they make the 100 pound. I sell the heck out of both of them, but I never used them when I was fishing.
Right.
I like Andy for my main line because I love Andy line. It's tough. But the fluorocarbon never used. Do you really like it?
I do really like it. It comes in a bulk spool. It's expensive, but you don't have to sit here and, that package that it comes in, most of it, it's,
those bags are a pain getting the line off.
If you can't figure out how to do it, especially if you're in a rush and you make a mistake and let go of the spool, and it can be bad sometimes. So that's why another reason why I like the spool of Andy. It's a good leader, tough, and the price point's not bad at all.
Have you tried any of their pink fluoro?
I have not tried that, no.
I need to get you some samples. I think I had a sample for you somewhere. Maybe it's in my office. But,
right.
But a lot of the marlin guys on the lighter stuff, on the 40, 50, 60 pound, have switched to the pink. And they're raving about the pink. In Costa Rica this winter, that's all we use, the pink fluoro. But
now, what is the difference in the pink and the normal clear?
they say that the fish can't see the pink. It's more invisible in the water than the clear, but I don't know.
Right.
It was
like
kind
to
of
try it.
after my years of fishing or mating, and now, if I go out, I'm just an angler, so a little bit different now.
Far from that.
But a lot of the guys are switching to it, and the guys that are really good, at the marlin fishing thing elsewhere, Costa Rica and a couple of the other, Florida and some of those places on the billfish are using it. So just curious if you'd messed with it.
No, I
but on
haven't.
the tuna thing, I haven't really heard of.
Yeah.
Guys around here using it. That's why I was curious.
Yeah. I'd love to try it. And you can get your pink fluoro at Oceans East. And we'd love to have you on here to go fishing with us on the Speechless. You can book your trip, speechlesssportfishing.com. Get your sweatshirts, t-shirts, hats. And even if you don't want to book a trip with us, there's some of the best captains in the world right here in the Outer Banks. And they'd love to have you too. So if you're ever in the area, you want to go fishing, want to learn all the tackle, buy some tackle, get a whole spread set up, a whole rod set up, this man right here can help you out. Oceans East Bait and Tackle in Nags Head, North Carolina.
Yeah, just call us up.
Yep.
And we're working on the website and all that stuff. Now that'll be soon, but just call us up and ask for somebody in the offshore department. And if I'm not there, I have two other guys, and one of us will always be there to help somebody with offshore questions and get you set up and ship stuff and have it heading your way.
Yep, and what's cool, you're not just talking to somebody that knows about offshore fishing. You're talking about guys that have been offshore fishing for years that are going to help you and talk to you about this kind of stuff. So it's kind of cool. All right, well, we've rambled on long enough. We hope you come join us or come see Jimmy there at the tackle store. Until next time.